In simple terms, what you need to escalate with a woman is attraction and security. That being for taking her on a date, bring her home with you, anything. We need attraction because imagine a friend-zone guy. She can feel very safe with him, but just not feel attraction at all, to the point that he's practically genderless to her. Now we need security because imagine a serial killer. There is strong evidence that some women are drawn to them, but go and see how many will actually have a one-night stand with one of those. So how can we actually build security? It's not just proving that you're not a psycho, or that you're not some impulsive jerk who's disrespectful to anyone. If your words and actions don't match, she has good reasons not to trust you, because it's like you were hiding something. Incongruence kills both security and attraction. For example, if you run into her often and one day you pretend not to see her just to play mysterious, it's a potential game over. Trust me, she will notice that you saw her. Women are way more sharper than you in these things. Or let's say you've shown some good attractive traits, then out of nowhere you make a desperate move. Game over. She will be like, what the fuck, he was faking the whole time? Or if you tell her you're a family guy, then she overhears you yelling at your mom on the phone, it's game over. You have to be it, not fake it, or else at some point the facade will crumble. Congruence in this game is crucial, the same way in life. Match your actions and your words, have values and principles, at least some. We have to talk about tests. Tests show whether you truly walk the talk. Women use them to assess your confidence, sincerity, how do you handle your emotions, and what are your intentions. Basically, to ensure that you're in security. All that information, they will get it out of you, sooner or later. The more beautiful she is, the more tests you get. They are high on demand, so they figure out if you're just another one of the crowd and discard you quickly. They develop that skill so much, they even do it unconsciously. We also have to think of tests as indicators of interest, because the woman that doesn't test you at all, it's likely she's not being attracted to you, or that she has no filters, which is worse. Overreacting to a compliment, it's a common mistake. If you get blushed by it, you fail. If you rush your game from the moment she says it, you fail. If you return the compliment immediately, you fail. Because that's what the average guy does when he gets complimented by a woman. So you can just say thank you in a casual way and change the subject. What you want to convey is that you're used to receiving compliments from women, and more importantly, they don't shake you, and your eyes definitely don't light up like a stray puppy getting its first snack. We need to understand what a frame is. In any interaction, the frame sets the tone. It silently defines who leads the exchange and shapes how the conversation plays out. For instance, you meet a girl at the bar and she asks you to buy her a drink. If you say, yeah, of course, you fail. The frame established here will be, I'm a beautiful woman and you have to buy drinks to beautiful women to get their attention. And a guy that has to buy attention is not worth it. Another one, she says your shoes are ugly and you reply, yeah, well, I was in a hurry when I bought them. Plus, they were on discount. You fail. It shows that you let her get to you, the same way that if you say, I don't care what you think of me. And what you're saying is, what you said hurt me a lot and now I'm on the defensive. By accepting those frames, you're putting yourself in a bad position, you're failing. Controlling the frame means being able to shift it or ignore the one they're trying to impose on you. So if she asks you to buy her a drink, you can say, you get this round, I'll get the next. So the new frame for her is, I get him a drink and then he gets me one. Just getting to know each other. You can also accept the frame but exaggerate it with humor. So if she says that your shoes are ugly, you can say, I packed all the ugliness down to the bottom just so my face could shine. The deep understanding of this is to learn that she wants you to not care about her opinion. Especially if you just met that woman. Those comments for you, even from a pretty girl like her, don't faze you one bit. Because why would they? And even better, you take it so lightly that you can even laugh at yourself. That's how you pass tests, by not reacting, exaggerate their frames, shift them in your favor or ignore them. But you know what? She don't even have to create a test. Life itself tests you constantly. If you've both been waiting forever for the waiter and you just sit there watching him pass by instead of getting up and doing something about it, you're failing because it shows that you're not a guy of action. Anyways, here are some examples of tests. Let me know in the comments how would you handle some. Moreover, some women's tests can really throw off an experienced man. But don't worry, you'll recognize tests when something she says feels off, unusual, challenging, or like a sudden shift in the topic or tone of the conversation. Anything that feels out of place could be a test. Pay attention to her tone and body language, and if it matches her overall behavior. Even after she starts liking you, she's still measuring you, not in explicit ways, more like micro-rejections. These aren't always signs of disinterest, they're still tests. She's watching how you handle the little no's before the big yes. Like when she subtly shifts away away from your touch, or you feel tension in her body, that's not a cue to power through. To show her she can feel safe saying no without ever having to say it. These are the little things that makes the difference. That's what builds trust and attraction, why not? Tests significantly reduce in time as she begins to trust you, but she will always be paying attention to where something of you stops adding up, even when you get into a relationship. But hey, shouldn't we all be paying attention to our partners? Now, if she calls you friend or bro, it's a potential test if you haven't shown your cards yet. And when she does, as in most tests, she will be watching your face to see how you react, so you'll pretend you didn't hear anything. By doing so, you're also implementing the double rule. Me calling him a friend doesn't affect him, so does he like me or not? Points for you. By the way, I talked about the double rule in the last video, so check that out too if you haven't. The friend bump, it's not always a test or a final verdict. Sometimes a woman drops the friend label as a defense mechanism because you really sped up at some point and she's setting boundaries. So pay attention to the context because you might be walking on thin ice. Let's talk about physical escalation. As most of the seduction process, we had to think of it as a step-by-step and focus on one thing, building trust and comfort through the physical contact. It's kind of like what happens with a friend. You're cool hugging a friend because you've already shared different levels of physical contact, like a handshake or just being close to each other. Start from the bottom. You don't need to be obvious. Subtle is enough. Touch her shoulder real quick, her arms, make it casual while you're talking, as if it was something natural for you. Everything must be non-invasive. Gradually, in time, increase contact. Place your hand on her back for a few more seconds, playfully nudge her, poke her, maybe a friendly hug, then it becomes intense. The hands, knees, waist area, and so on. Just careful with the waist, especially if you're in public, because that's a very intimate zone for women. There are 3 ways she can respond to your touch. Negative, she rejects your contact by removing your hand, pulling away, or just by looking uncomfortable. Neutral response is, well, she does nothing, but does not look uncomfortable with it. Positive response is when she responds in a positive way, like hugging you back, getting closer, smiling, blushing, or placing her hand whenever you're touching. Every time you touch, don't look at when you are touching, just keep acting normal. She will notice every time you touch her, but don't make it weird. Also, if you get a neutral response, leave your hands for only a few seconds and then remove it, because if she liked it, she will want more, and at the same time, we're looking for a positive response, not a neutral one. So when it happens, don't get too excited. Keep acting natural. And then in, let's say, 8 seconds, depending on the physical contact, subtly break it. You show that you're not needy and you can differentiate yourself from the guys that won't let go and even start to rush just because she let them touch her. On top of that, intense physical contact can create sexual tension, and like any tension, if it builds for too long, the pressure becomes unbearable. That's why it is smart to break it by pulling away before she does. It's time to talk about how to create attraction. Give her gifts. Tell her she's beautiful on repeat. Let her know you'll be there no matter what. Walk on eggshells so you never offend her. Yeah, I just listed everything you shouldn't do. To create attraction, you don't necessarily need a lot of time, but what you do in that time is what it counts. This explains why some guys wait for months for the perfect moment to make an actual move with that one girl. Then an experienced guy comes out of nowhere and she's totally into him already. Don't hate the player, hate the game. It is a mistake to just rely on talking and asking her questions, a constant exchange of information, that being talking about logical things, it won't make her feel more attracted to you. If that was the case, nerds will date supermodels. It is good for developing trust, but in the long game, it leads you nowhere if there are no emotions in those conversations. That's why you have to create them in the interactions with her, the small game dynamics that appear from time to time, and in the stories you tell her. The more emotions she associates with you, the more attraction she will feel. For instance, when you tell stories with passion and emotion, the girl would feel it too, even if it was something insignificant. It's not what you say, but how you say it. You could have the most interesting life, but if your delivery is boring, no one will care. That's why you want to learn the skill of storytelling, of transmitting your emotions. A great way to do this? Use a strong opening hook, something as simple as, "You won't believe what happened to me yesterday." Boom, you got her attention. Practice at home. If I make her laugh, will I create attraction? Yes and no. Let me explain. Having a sense of humor transmits confidence and comfort. Many men don't want to make jokes because they are afraid that the woman won't laugh. And if the woman is very attractive, so when you do act funny, you differentiate yourself. For women, there is attractiveness in a guy that is able to face life in a funny and relaxed way. Humor is a formidable tool in seduction, but if you only rely on that, you'll only have a man-to-man dynamic, or worse, become her jester. You still have to flirt, physically escalate, and lead. Now, a premise is when you make a statement of the man-woman dynamic, not something you will tell a guy, like, I love the way those pants fit you. Playful teasing is when you tease someone in a fun way. Premise plus playful teasing equals flirting. With a playful and relaxed attitude, you can flirt naturally. But let's break down some techniques. Arrogant humor is making jokes while having an arrogant vibe in a 50-50 way, because excessive arrogance only transmits insecurity. I know you love me and you're just saying that to hide it. This works better when you're not so physically attractive, or if she is more attractive than you. Right after, you have disqualifying humor. This is when what you say doesn't match up with how you say it or the persona you've already established. For example, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm a virgin. I'm extremely shy and women make me nervous. A woman is touching me. I have to call my mom. You're just playing, and what they will think is that there is no way in hell that you are a virgin or shy or that a woman has never touched you, because no one that fits that description will talk like that. Compliments should be scarce and specific. If she's beautiful, she heard that her entire life. Instead of stating the obvious, focus on something unique. Her personality, her style. In case you didn't notice, women invest a lot in their style, or something that genuinely catches your eye. Just don't be too general or predictable. Push and pull. This technique mixes a positive comment with a playful negative one, or vice versa. Your name is beautiful. Too bad you party a lot. I hate redheads, but at least your outfit is cool. Neck is to lower the perceived value of a woman in a teasing and fun way. It works better when she's very attractive. It comes to my mind the line of the song Fit By You Know It by the band The Streets. I reckon you're about an 8 or a 9, maybe even 9.5 in 4 years' time. Terrific. Project in the future. Talk about things you can do together in a playful way, like, if we go roller skating together, keep in mind that you have to pick me up more than once. Create tension, then break it. You can do it in many ways. The key is to be unpredictable. Example, when she's being subtly suggestive to you. Are you going to math spinning class? Maybe you can level up your body a little more. Yeah, I'd love to improve my cardio, but do you know who I'd really like to do cardio with? At that moment, you create tension in a good way. She anticipates something, but she has no idea whether you're about to be direct or what the hell you're gonna come up with. So if she asks who, you break it with the cleaning lady, of course. Did you see how fast she cleans the floors? Or leave it hanging and change the subject. I'd rather not say. So not only you're creating emotions, but also doubling the bet and showing that you know how to play this game. Now this one is good. Fight, fight, fight. Ever heard the phrase, those who fight love each other? The back and forth game creates a lot of emotions. Women love to bring back those playful memories from childhood. Argue with her, challenge her in a fun way. When she starts something, she's trying to create a spark. Don't get mad, don't freeze up. Fight back. Always have a better answer than her. Every time you get the last word, you rack up points, especially in front of others. But don't just wait for her to create that spark. Look for it. And when you do, be ready to take the heat. Some girls will fully commit to the battle. Others won't know how to calibrate and might come off as if they're bullying you. If she complains about you in front of you, say that you hear some annoying noise and you can tell where it's coming from. If you beat her in a game and she asks you for a rematch, say that it gets boring when it's too easy. If she asks you for a snack, put it away at the last second. And don't be afraid to get physical. It's a great excuse to escalate. Just control your strength, big guy. Sarcasm works wonders too. Treat her like a little sister. Make fun of her for being short. It's hilarious. Give her a little nickname. Troll her. It shows you don't take her seriously. What kind of guys do take her seriously? The ones who have zero chances with her. What kind of guy did fight her all the time? Her ex-boyfriend. This is not bullying, this is playing. So calibrate, see how she reacts, and start gradually. There has to be some trust before you go all in. If you flirt or playfully fight with a girl, other girls will see this and will want to do the same with you. It's like a snowball. Women love to flirt, especially when you're not needy and you know how to flirt. I'll tell you more. Flirting is like playing with fire, and that means that even if you are just playing with a woman, the emotions are running. She is investing in you. So a spark is being created, even if it started as a game or as a joke. We must remember, attraction is not a logical thing to be controlled. The fastest way to create attraction is pre-selection. Women women have many filters when choosing men, but they also rely on the judgment of other women. The more physically attracted the girl with you is, the more you stand out. Who is this guy, they will wonder. Why is she with him when she could have so many other options? And just like that, all the attractive male qualities get projected onto you. It explains why you get more attention once you have a girlfriend. But the best part, you don't even have to be in a relationship. Simply being around women or them knowing that you did is enough. We did talk about the importance of having options in part 1, not just because you'll be able to choose the right person from a variety of women, but also because your mindset, it's just different. You won't even have to mention there are others because you must not do it, but also because women will sense it, man. They smell it. When you act and behave from the abundance, it shows. You won't be worried about what you say or what she could say, because if you screw up, you still have more options. If she takes you for granted, she won't be in any rush for something to happen with you. Never underestimate the power of scarcity or fear of missing out. It is not the same a 50% discount than a 50% discount for 24 hours. About ignoring the woman, well, if you think of it as a strategy for trying to pull the girl you like, it might work, at least for a while, but careful if it does, because in what kind of people do you think that works? What kind of person chases someone who acts like they don't exist? By the way, don't use this strategy in a formal relationship, because what kind of relationship will you be creating? You shouldn't be available all the time, you need to show you have a life. But if over time you show zero interest or availability at all, attraction decreases. Now let's get more practical. Before diving in, this is what happens in seduction. Two people meet, progress, gradually invest in each other, and eventually they meet on the top. How did this happen? Stamp this word into your mind. Natural. Women want this. Something that came out as natural, effortless, magical in the whole process. Kind of like a fairy tale. If it doesn't feel natural, then it feels forced. And if it feels forced, then it is wrong. Think about that romantic cliche scene where two people bump into each other and later fall in love. It's a damn good metaphor for something real, something natural. And good news, you don't have to wait for an accident to occur with a woman that caught up your attention or plan everything millimetrically. You can simply approach a woman as if you were approaching any other human being, without expectations. Approaching a woman isn't just about looking for the right moment to drop there your beautiful bomb and hope she'll be so flattered that she gives you her number. If you think you only need one magic conversation opener or witty compliment for her to be impressed and have sex with you that very night, you got it wrong. There are no shortcuts in this game. To start getting used to approaching, embrace the 3-second rule. The idea is simple. If you see someone who catches your eye or you make eye contact with, approach them within 3 seconds. The faster you do it, the less time your mind has to self-sabotage. And to avoid getting stuck in the loop where you're both looking at each other and no one does anything. Struggle to approach a 10 out of 10 girl? Start smaller, go for a 7 out of 10. Struggle to approach any woman at all? Talk to the old ladies just to get comfortable starting conversations. And actually learn from them. Ever met that old lady at a bus stop or a hospital waiting room who just start conversations out of nowhere in a natural and effortless way? There is a skill in that. The best way to break the ice is to pretend it's already broken. Talk to people as if you already knew them. We're working on building the skill of socializing, and it's just like getting abs. You don't wake up one day with a six-pack, just like you won't subtly talk to the girl you're into with fluency and confidence if you still freeze up around strangers. Progress takes reps. You start small and you level up. And always remember, getting used to approaching means going in without expectations. And just like that, that first contact you will learn to create will have the potential to lead to something else. By the way, forget whoever told you that approaching a woman is creepy. In fact, recent studies shows that 7 out of 10 women will like to be more approached. Now we're getting closer to the date. Before asking out a woman, it has to be a minimum of interest. Depending on her level of interest, that will be your answer. Careful now, because your choice of words and mostly the way you invite her reflects how you perceive the dynamic. When asking out, I recommend to not use the word dates. Too formal, too much pressure, make it casual, you're just hanging out because why not, right? Also, avoid saying wanna go out sometime or someday. Have a specific time and place planned before you propose. Technicalities aside, the invitation will be something normal like, hey, are you free this Friday? Wanna go for a coffee uptown? Other way will be, I'm visiting the new Museum of Science this Saturday. Wanna come? So you're inviting her into your own activity. If she says she's not available and does not suggest a different time to meet, it's likely she's not interested. You take it easy and say that it's cool and change the subject. The chances of turning a no into a yes depend on how you played your move. It is not the same a subtle rejection than an explicit one. If it's a yes, cool, settle it right there and then move on to something else. Needless to say, it's 1,000 times better to do this in person. It's admirable. It takes balls. Even if it's a no, she will respect that. Especially nowadays, where risk aversion is on the rise, where it seems like we're distant and afraid of each other more than ever. Hang tight now. If there is a good gap between when you ask her out and the actual date, say you invite her on a Tuesday for Saturday, confirm it 1 or 2 days before. But don't use the word confirm. Bring it up as if the plan is already locked in. Mention something about the logistics or a detail of the plan. Then of course, reach out again on the day of the date. Here comes the easiest recipe to lose dates. To think that just because she agreed to a date, you don't need to say anything until that day. There's a good chance she'll come up with an excuse not to go. Why? Because for her it was off, so she canceled it before you could. What the fuck? Simple. You didn't confirm. You think you are afraid of rejection or getting stood up? Afraid of looking like you were the one waiting? Then obviously you've never been a woman before.
But Champlain, me and my high school girlfriend went for an ice cream and I don't remember complicated rituals like this, and we had a great time, but she broke up with me after she and her best friend.
I totally get it. Each person is different and has its own preferences, values and behaviors. What the hell, she might even be the one to ask you out. Pick the date's location and set up the moment for the kiss. But that's not so likely to happen, is it? We're moving within standard procedures and they work. But if the other person offers a different dynamic, well, go ahead. Let's talk about the date. It could be ice cream, a walk in the park, arcade, a beer, whatever, though I wouldn't recommend the movies. The important thing is that you're both able to interact. First things first, if you think you had to take them to a fancy restaurant or expensive place whatsoever, well, you got it wrong. Spending big is not an essential part of the equation. Besides, no need to do that with someone you're just getting to know. If the woman you pick makes you feel that going out with her has to be expensive, well, that is your first red flag. Dynamics do change whether you are in movement or static, but the do's and don'ts remain the same. Tidy up. Please take a shower and trim your nails. Show that you care about this meeting. Show enthusiasm when you meet her and start leading. Relax. You're there to get to know someone in a better way, let that person get to know you a little more, and to have a great time. The fastest way to build confidence is to act with confidence. Maintain an upright and open posture. Avoid slouching or crossing your arms, as this can make you appear closed off or insecure. Maintaining eye contact demonstrates confidence and sincerity. However, it is important to not overdo it. In a first date, I wouldn't talk politics or religion, but if it comes out and you're both comfortable, don't be afraid to speak your mind. Not to make this a heated debate, but instead to try to find common ground. Also, I wouldn't talk about past relationship experiences, and you absolutely won't talk about where do you want this to go, because what the hell would you know? You're just getting to know her. Don't make the mistake of thinking she's the one just because she's pretty or if she showed interest. Bear in mind that a first date is to build connection and to filter if you can. At the same time, if she compares you with her ex, if she's explicit about getting into a relationship, or if she pushes you to make up your mind about it, well, there's another red flag. If I were the one that invited her, I will pay for her. But pay attention for when the bill comes, whether if she at least reaches out for her wallet or if she gives you this look. If she keeps insisting on paying for her stuff, accept it and don't push it. Here are some extra tips. Make statements before making her questions. Don't be afraid to be real about your preferences. Instead of constantly asking what she likes, talk about what you like. Many men fake having the same interests just to be more likable. Don't be one of them. Your mindset should be, this is me. If you don't like it, that's cool. Also, don't fully close out topics. Leave them hanging before they naturally end and switch to something else. Basically, go off on tangents. This is also how women communicate, so when the interaction is over, she'll feel like there is still unfinished conversation. There are cognitive biases that make people want to finish unfinished things. Therefore, she will want to keep talking to you. To summarize, get to know her, build chemistry, and have a great time. And while things are going well, then it is ideal to go for the first kiss. Kiss on the first date, yes or no? Ideally, yes. Depends on how the day went and in the signals she gave you. When to kiss, you can do it at the end or in mid-date, where emotions are high and there is a considerable tension that if released, the rest of the date will be more relaxed. The kiss isn't something you just give. The kiss is something you create. Look for a spot with little to no people around. Escalate physically before going for a kiss. Don't go from A to Z, step by step. Touch her while you're talking cheesy stuff. Pay attention if she's comfortable, step back if necessary. Once you reach to a certain proximity, you can make eye contact, then look at her lips for a quick second. If she doesn't step back, kiss her. Don't wait for her to kiss you, you go for the kiss. Everyone knows that, even Jack knows that. Right, Jack? You can whisper in her ear too and see how she reacts, and the fact that she's okay with you being that close, it is a neon green light to go for it. It is important that you have built enough comfort and physical connection for both of you to close the distance and the kiss comes out as natural. There are many ways to get to Rome: touching her hand, brushing hair from her face, caressing her cheek, but the key is paying attention. Her signals tell you when the moment's right, or when it's not. By the way, no stolen kisses, please. By doing so, you subcommunicate that you don't feel capable of kissing her, or that you are afraid of losing that shot forever, so you try to secure it by doing it where she doesn't see it coming. It's just a no. The best kiss is the one that has already been sensed. Now, what happens if she rejects your kiss? You feel like your stomach dropped, or that you tripped in front of a crowd. Immediately, you and her pretend that nothing happened. You're both very aware of what just happened. The so-called awkward moment unfolds. Guess who has to handle it?
Well, obviously she has to handle it because I did everything and it's her fault that this is awkward now. She could at least give me a little kiss.
I'll tell you what not to do first. Don't ask her why she doesn't want to kiss you. Don't try to kiss her again immediately. Don't get mad, sad, distant. I thought you liked me, but why did you agree to go out with me? Every time you try to rationalize things with logic or ask her to explain herself, you're sinking your own ship cap. It shows you don't know anything about seduction. So what happens then? Absolutely nothing. You're good, man. Easy. She rejecting that interaction at that moment does not mean she made up her mind about never touching your lips. Maybe you didn't escalate physically enough. Maybe she needs a deeper connection to be able to kiss you. Maybe she wants to see how you handle a no. Maybe your breath stinks, you dirty goofball. Or she has shrimp in her teeth. It could have been because she didn't want to come off as easy. Either way, you deal with this calmly by simply saying, "It's fine, I get it." Then start talking about something else. You can even use humor, like pretending you were going to whistle or whatever. It's cool. Remove the heaviness of the situation and move on. Show her that you respect her boundaries, whatever the reason, and it doesn't affect you at all. That's it. Like I said, don't try it again immediately. Reset. Change her emotions. Try to physically escalate again, and you will realize if she's ready. Trust me, I know right now it's not a no later or in your next date. Now let's talk about how to get to this phase, if you're not religious. I guess there's this belief that says that women don't enjoy sex as much as men, or that it's something super delicate for them. No way, she needs at least 5 dates before I can touch one boob. This is a limiting belief. Obviously, women love sex, just society won't let them be expressive about it. And when concerns about security and reputation are covered, it is likely they are more receptive to casual sex. Just don't go in with the mindset of, "I totally have to get laid tonight." That kind of expectation oozes desperation, and trust me, she will feel it. Now listen, even if she does want to get more physical with you, if you ask her, "Do you want to come to my place?" she'll hit you back with a distrustful "what for?" with all the shields up. Sex invitations are never explicit. Surprise! Therefore, they're always disguised. Just not enough. Many guys suck at it. They take things for granted just because things were going well, and they mess it up even when she makes the suggestion. Like if she asks the guy if he has a phone charger back in his place, for example, he starts to drool and say something like, "Yeah, phone charger, I get it. Let's go to my house to charge your phone. What kind of charger do you have? Type P?" When she suggests going to your house, she'll play dumb and you'll play dumber.
But she played if I want to and she wants to. Why can't we just say it?
God, Jack, you're not paying attention. You don't need to sexualize the conversation to bring a girl home with you. It produces the opposite effect of what you expect. So when you make the suggestion, give her a logical reason to go home with you. Basically, make up an excuse and just don't make it so obvious. The better the excuse, the more likely it is she'll accept. For example, you can say, "You reminded me that I have pizza in my fridge. Are you hungry? Cool, let's go to my house to eat. I know you're hungry, just try to leave some pizza for me. And please don't end up eating me." There you go, you have an excuse. She won't feel easy and the way home doesn't feel pressured. Because you are going to eat pizza, right? Now, don't assume that you are going to get laid just because she agreed to eat pizza. You must never assume. You must advance in relation to how comfortable she feels. Sticking to the step-by-step rule will always keep you safe. And if she lets you know that she doesn't want you to see her as easy, no problem. Let her know that whatever happens, you won't change your mind about her. And that you're willing to wait until you're both comfortable. That's how you differentiate yourself from the guys that rushed the way home to sleep with her. And that's how she's going to trust you even more, and maybe that way she will want to have sex with you. But if that's not the case, don't insist and wait for later. Let's not forget that men are used to being extremely direct. They often skip intros and go straight to the point. But for a woman, the intro is everything. The build-up, the emotional roller coaster. Think about why erotic novels and soap operas are multi-million-dollar businesses. Every anticipation you create will mentally stimulate her. You don't have to follow everything I said. Some of it will work for you, some won't. But this is a game. with rules, dynamics, and the more you play, the more fun it gets. Subscribe if you liked the video. I'll be uploading more content related to human behavior. Good luck with them chicks.